Like, you know how old K-pop songs go viral? Yeah, I want old K-dramas to go viral again. And so I really hope that we can do that with Reply 1997 because it's truly a gem. So today I am very excited to be making this video because I will be talking about one of my all-time favorite dramas, Reply 1997. So recently, Love Next Door has been on air and, everyone's going crazy about it. I would love to make a related video because that's just what's like trending these days. But yeah, I don't know what to do, basically. So I decided I want to recommend the OG Friends to Lovers because, yeah, watching Love Next Door just reminded me of Reply 1997. I literally rewatched it recently. But yeah, if you're going crazy about Love Next Door, I feel like it's time to get you on Reply 1997. If you don't already know, I am a huge K-drama fan. I've seen over 500 dramas total, and probably like 300 of them are K-dramas. And within all of this, Reply 1997 is one of my top 2 K-dramas. I say It's Okay That's Love is my favorite, and then Reply 1997 is my second favorite. And really, I never thought I'd get to make a video about it because obviously it's like really, really old. It's 2012. I just thought Love Next Door, Reply 1997, it's time for me to try to blow this drama up again. Like, you know how old K-pop songs go viral? Yeah, I want old K-dramas to go viral again. And so I really hope that we can do that with Reply 1997 because it's truly a gem. Okay, so for the plot, so the story revolves around 6 friends from Busan. The story timeline shifts between their past as high schoolers in 1997 and their present reunion in 2012, where a couple announces they're getting engaged. The series follows female high school student Sung Shi-won, who idolizes boy band H.O.T. and the lives of her friends. And it's really a slice of life, and each episode is really just like a casual day in the life and just these experiences that shape them to who they are going to be as adults. So for background, the original title is called 응답해라, which means literally Answer Me. So the title is Answer Me or Reply 1997. And this is the very first of the Reply series because there are 2 more. There's Reply 1994 and then there's also Reply 1988. People tend to really like 1988. It's also the most recent, and I also agree production-wise it is the best, but Reply 1997 is just the OG, and it's just great. But besides being the very first of the Reply series, it's actually also the very first drama work of the drama director and writer. Before I get into like the director and writer, I just want to talk a little bit about the context of the situation. So 1997 is during the IMF crisis, and the drama overall portrays the extreme fan culture that emerged in the 1990s when first generation idol groups such as H.O.T. and Checkies took center stage, and then K-pop was beginning to really blossom all over the world. And one thing about this drama that receives like good reviews is that the fact that they portrayed the time period so well. What's funny is this drama came out in 2012 and the entire drama revolves around evoking the nostalgic feeling. And it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's only 15 years. And literally, it's almost 15 years since 2012. It was definitely one of the charms of the drama. So now on to the director-writer duo. So the director is Shin Won-ho and the writer is Lee Woo-jung. And this is their very first drama work, like I mentioned earlier. And yeah, they're big shots. Like prior to working on this drama, which was their first, they were a variety show, like PD and writer. They're actually part of this very famous trio. These 2 make up 2 of the 3 in the trio of the Yoido Research Institute, and they're also known as Lee Myung-han's division. So basically, the trio is Shin Won-ho, Lee Woo-jung, and Na Young-seok, and they all met on the program Declaration of Freedom, Today is Saturday, The Way of Roses, where Lee Woo-jung was the main writer, Shin Won-ho and Na Young-seok were assistant directors under Lee Myung-han, so that's why they're like considered under the Lee Myung-han line. And so basically, they worked on some big programs such as Man's Qualification and One Night, 2 Days at KBS. Yeah, the 4 of them continued to work together a lot. And eventually they moved to CJE&M, continue to create a lot of famous programs together. And here, the director of TVN suggests that Shin Won-ho directs a drama. And Shin Won-ho is not really interested. Like, he's been a variety PD and he had really no interest in making dramas. But eventually he gets talked into doing it and he's just like, hey, I'll do it as long as I can experiment because, yeah, I'm a variety director. Like, I don't really know about dramas. So then they form this team of people who have only worked on variety shows and do not know how to work on a drama. So then Shin Won-ho and Lee Woo-jung, are involved. They're both former variety show, like, people. Like, she used to write for variety shows. He used to direct variety shows. And then they came together to make Reply 1997, which was very unique and eventually very, very successful. What's funny is the production team did not have any expectations whatsoever because they were completely new to the drama industry and they had like super low budget. Shin Won-ho actually edited the entire drama himself because they didn't have staff, you know? And so they talk about this, but it's got a lot of like amateur vibes, but there's still something super beautiful in this very first work. The series would go on to become one of the highest rated Korean dramas in cable television history, and it received a lot of praise for being well researched, refreshing, genuine, and full of heart and humor. Some of the trademarks of the Reply series is the unexpected timing. They would turn serious situations suddenly funny or funny situations suddenly serious. And then another really fun thing about the Reply series is a lot of the Easter eggs. There's a lot of cameos and references to other characters. It's a lot of fun if you know what's going on, but if you don't know what it is, then you just don't. But if you're really well versed in this industry, it's super good to watch. And another thing that Shin Won-ho really likes to incorporate is the flashbacks. So this story, and actually every other Shin Won-ho work, there is a lot of flashbacks. So they just go between past and present. Obviously in this one, they're like between 2012 and like 1997, going back and forth between the reunion and then like the future. And this is also the case in every other series that he has. And lastly, the most important trademark of the Reply series is the Who's the Husband game. So yeah, the entire show revolves around who's the husband for the main character, Sung Si-won, who's played by Chung Eun-ji. I don't really remember being super invested in this when I first started watching. Now I literally just watch it like knowing who the husband is, and it's just cute. I mean, seeing how like all the little hints point at whoever is the husband. And people really, really hate the other option, and I'll get into that at the end. But on to the characters. Like I mentioned earlier, Chung Eun-ji plays Sung Si-won, and I'm just gonna take their Wikipedia descriptions because I feel like they're good enough written. So Si-won is a devoted fangirl of boy band HOT, and she dreams of marrying Tony. Though Si-won has the worst grades in her class and always has her head in the clouds, she's forthright and sassy. Next is So Eun-guk, who plays Yoon Yoon-jae. Quiet and brooding, yet devoted to those close to him, Yoon-jae is Si-won's childhood best friend who frequently spends time at her house following the death of his own parents. He's also known as one of the two most handsome boys in the school alongside Junhee, and girls often fall for the both of them. He's intelligent and at the top of his class. As a teenager, Yoon-jae falls for Si-won and tries to keep it a secret. Next is our former Infinite member, Hoya, who plays Junhee. Junhee is shy and sweet. He's Yoon-jae's best friend and right-hand man. Like Yoon-jae, girls fall for him easily, and he often spends time with Si-won. He harbors a secret that he's gay and is in love with his best friend Yoon-jae, which only Si-won is aware of. Shin So-yul plays Mo Yoon-jung. Yoo-jung is Si-won's best friend, despite the occasional argument following the revelation that Yoo-jung is actually his Chickies fan, the rival boy band to HOT. Yoo-jung is known to be fickle when it comes to love, falling for boys, whether in real life or in the celebrity world, at the drop of a hat. So what's funny is Chickies member Eun Ji-won plays To Hak-chan. A transfer student from Seoul, Hak-chan loves sports and has a comically large pornography collection. He's outgoing around his friends, yet his major weakness is inability to interact with girls. However, he eventually falls for Yoo-jung. Next is Lee Si-eun, who plays Bang Sung-jae. The description says he's the mile-a-minute talker and one-man rumor mill of the group. And basically, he's just a super talkative comedic relief guy that just like is a solo Joe, you know? And lastly, we have Song Jong-ho as Yoon Tae-woong. He's a teacher at their high school, and Tae-woong turns out to be Yoon-jae's older brother and had been previously engaged to Si-won's past elder sister. And over the course of the show, Tae-woong also falls for Si-won. So for rating, yeah, it's clearly a 10 out of 10. I think I've talked a lot about how much I love this drama. For me, I think nostalgia is like one of the big reasons that I love this drama so much. I must have watched this drama close to 2012, maybe 2013 or 2014. And ultimately, it is about a fangirl. So there are just so many aspects of Si-won that I really relate to. And a lot of this drama is just iconic to me. There's a lot of like iconic moments and things that just have my feet kicking and squealing. One thing that I really love about this drama is that the fact that there's like an overarching message over each episode, and just the themes in general, it just leaves you like, I feel like, to think and feel and relate. And this drama is just so great. Like beyond it being a romantic drama, there's also just like a lot of good relationships in terms of friendship, in terms of parental relationships. just like all these different like forms of love, and it's just so well written. It's a very people driven story, and I love that. Genuinely not much happens in terms of the plot, which is why it was really hard for me to come up with a summary, but it's such a good drama. The comedic timing, I feel like it just resonates with my sense of humor. I also am very familiar with the Korean entertainment industry, so most of the jokes, I get it and I think they're funny. Like the whole meta thing, they're like literally arguing about chickies the entire time, like chickies and HOT, and literally Eunji-won is a chickies member. And I think by now I kind of know each individual cast member because all of them are pretty famous now. So it is also, I'm very fond of the actors themselves. I'm very fond of their characters. And overall, they're just all pretty good people. There's like no extreme villain. I know people really, really hate Taewoong, and I don't love him, but I don't dislike him as much as some other people think. I'll kind of get into that later because it's like one of the cons of the drama. And yeah, like I mentioned, this is like the OG friends to lovers. So for me, Love Next Door has big shoes to fill because I feel like Reply 1997 is like the best childhood friends to lovers. There's so many elements of Love Next Door that are also in Reply 1997, like the bickering duo, the boy being in love with the girl since forever and the girl not knowing that. And yeah, just the way I love the there's so much. I love it so much. I think I'm just going to get into everything in the pros and the cons, but you just have to know that this is one of my all-time favorite dramas. I've seen over 500. Like, I really, really believe this is a great drama, and you should go watch it if you haven't. And yeah, if you have, let me know your thoughts too. I want everyone in the comments to be convinced to watch. So please share your comments to convince others because I would love if this drama blew up again. It's genuinely such a classic, iconic drama. And yeah. Okay, so now we're going to get into the summary. If I'm being honest, I am missing out so many different plot points, so you can really enjoy it in full. I will really be going over the romance plotline, which is the main plotline, but there's just so much more to the drama besides the summary. And yeah, it's a little long because I included almost every single detail in the romantic relationship, but you gotta see it to fall in love, you know? So anyways, the story starts in 1997 in Busan, where we meet Sung Si-won, who we learn is a big, crazy fan of HOT, and her bias is Tony An. And at the same time, we see them in the present, in 2012, where she and her 5 friends, Yoonjae, Yoojung, Junhee, Sungjae, and Hakchan are at a high school reunion where someone is announcing their marriage. We establish that Siwon is best friends with Yoonjae since childhood after his parents' sudden death leaves him an orphan. He spends a lot of time at Siwon's place and treats her parents like his own. Yoonjae and Siwon bicker a lot but are always together whether it be at home or at school, and they're always caring for each other in unconscious ways. They are opposites in every way. He's at the top of the school in terms of grades, and she's last in her class. She's friendly and kind while he's cold and inflexible. And really the story begins when everything changes, because in 1997 they're in high school, and yeah, Siwon starts becoming a woman. She is getting prettier, and Yoonjae is also turning into a man and having manly desires or whatever. And yeah, it's during this time that he really sees that Siwon's just not a bro, and he really develops feelings for her. The thing is, while Yoonjae is crushing on Siwon, Siwon's friend Yoojung is actually interested in Yoonjae. She asks Siwon if it's okay that she likes Yoonjae, and Siwon's like, I don't care. And then after Yoojung confesses, Yoonjae tells Siwon, who already heard from Yoojung, and Yoonjae, using one of his birthday coupons, because they like to give each other birthday coupons, uses a coupon that says Siwon will grant him any wish, and his wish is for Siwon to tell him not to date Yoojung.
만나지 말까? 그걸 원한테 만나. 만나지 말까? 만나지 말까? 소원이 뭔데? 만나지 말게라.
And as they go through high school, although Siwon and Yoonjae are really close, Siwon gets really, really close to Junhee. Eventually, Junhee tells Siwon his biggest secret is that he's in love with Yoonjae. As Siwon and Junhee get closer, Yoonjae gets jealous and actually mistakes Junhee's crush on Yoonjae as a crush on Siwon. And this is around the time that we learn that Siwon's older sister and Yoonjae's older brother Taewoong were going to get married until Siwon's sister passed in the bus accident. Taewoong eventually begins to see elements of Siwon's sister in Siwon and develops feelings for her. At the same time, Yoo-jung keeps expressing her interest in Yoonjae, and Yoonjae, who is oblivious to her feelings, is being really inconsiderate. Hak-chan, who is clearly aware of Yoo-jung's feelings for Yoonjae, feels sorry for her and takes care of her. This is when they begin dating. And then eventually, Yoonjae musters up the courage and begins to prepare to confess to Siwon. His plans are ruined when he finds out his older brother has feelings for her, so he gives up confessing. We then begin the game of who's the father between Yoonjae and Taewoong. So after Yoonjae fails to confess, he is super depressed after finding out his brother likes Siwon and begins to avoid her to try to end his feelings. Taewoong confesses and asks Siwon to be his girlfriend. The two begin spending more time together while Yoonjae avoids her. One day when she comes home late from her part-time job, Yoonjae worriedly goes to pick her up and walks her home. He gets injured on his way back but doesn't really notice the injury as he's too busy scolding Siwon for being so reckless to just walk home alone. And at this point, this is where Siwon actually begins to feel something for Yoonjae, because just seeing his really worried state, his reliability, I feel like this is really where she realizes that Yoonjae's just always been there for her. And yeah, seeing him hurt makes her sad too. So time passes. Siwon continues to spend time with Taewoong, and Yoonjae continues to avoid her. This is until they have a little party as everyone gets ready to leave for college, and it's also Siwon's birthday. There's a lot going down. Hak-chan and Yoo-jung are in a fight because Hak-chan is going to go study abroad, and yeah, everyone basically disperses, and it's only Siwon and Yoonjae left. And here, Siwon asks for her birthday present, and last year she had previously asked for a ring from someone she likes. So basically she's asking Yoonjae for a ring as if like he likes her, and whatever. And he's like, oh, get that from my brother, because Siwon and his brother are a thing. And then Yoonjae confesses his feelings, that he's into Siwon and that he can't do anything because his brother likes her.
역시 좋아하거든. 태어난 순간부터 옆에 있었고 하루도 아무 일 없었고 미처 생일 터전날까지 기억하는데 그래도 여자 보이더라. 고등학교 입학식 날 난생 처음 네가 이쁘다고 생각했고 그 이후로 네 주변에서 계속 티냈다. 네 좋아한다고. 내 좀 좋아해달라고. 세상에서 내가 가장 사랑하는 사람이 딱 두 명 있는데 한 명은 우리 형. 나 때문에 모든 걸 포기한 우리 형이고 다른 한 명은 니. 닌데 이 형이 네가 좋단다. 그것도 많이 야처럼. 나 어떻게 할까?
And Siwon replies that she just wants to stay friends. She knows that Yoonjae is one of her most important friends and that she doesn't want to lose him. And Yoonjae replies, no. After confessing, I don't want to be your friend anymore, and he just plans on never seeing her again. And so on the way home, Siwon sees Taewoong, who tries to also gift Siwon a ring. And this is where Siwon breaks up with him, I guess, because she just tells him that her heart doesn't flutter for him, which is interesting because she doesn't want the ring from him, but she wants the ring from Yoonjae, But at this point, she's also saying that Yoonjae is just a friend to her. So at this point, I would say Siwon already likes Yoonjae, just doesn't know she does. Anyways, time passes. 6 years later, they meet again at a cafe for the very first time. Siwon is now a writer in the broadcast industry. Makes sense, as she could stay close to her idol. And Yoonjae has become a judge. They sit down and talk, and she asks him if there's anyone he's dating. He lies and says, yes, there is. She, who knows him super well, decides to catch him in his bluff and calls Junhee, who is living with Yoonjae. So she calls Junhee, and after she hangs up, Yoonjae flusteredly says he was saying just a girl space friend, and she's like, what a lie.
그래, 고맙다.
친구! 그 남자친구 여자친구한테 그냥 친구. 너도 그런 친구 하나쯤은 있잖아.
친구? 친구? 지랄.
너 때문에 동창회도 안 가고 어버이날은 하루 먼저 내려가고 추석과 설에는 장염이냐 눈병이냐 지난 6년 동안 별의별 생쇼를 다 했는데 어떻게 이렇게 한 방에 끝내냐. 성시원이 망하냐. 다시 모든 게 96년 고등학교 입학식 날로 97년 첫 키스를 나누던 수도가로 98년 미친놈처럼 울고 싶던 그때 그 그 겨울로 돌아갔다. 정확하게 나는 90년대 윤윤재로 리셋되었다.
So later, when Yoonjae goes home, he asks Junhee why he was being so stupid and why he didn't cover up, when Junhee actually tells Yoonjae that he did lie and say that Yoonjae was dating someone. So it turns out Yoonjae was so flustered that he actually just gave it away himself. And then the two are forced to reunite again when Yoo Jung's father passes away, and they all go down for the funeral. During this funeral process, Hak-chan comes back from Hawaii, and him and Yoo Jung reignite their love. When they return back to Seoul, Yoonjae gives Siwon a ride, and she asks him if he's still into her. One thing is she notices that he kept a little like trash gift she gave to him that she kind of just like found on the street or something, and then he turned it into a keychain, showing how much he like values this like piece of trash she gave him essentially, and keeping it after all these years. And so Siwon asks him, "Do you still like me?" And he goes, "Do you like me?" And she actually tells him yes, and yeah, he just doesn't respond. In the meantime, Taewoong needs surgery and doesn't want to tell Yoonjae because he doesn't want to worry Yoonjae, and he asks Siwon to be his guardian. They're at the hospital Junhee is working at, and Siwon tells Junhee that she likes Yoonjae and is sorry to Junhee because obviously Siwon likes the same guy that Junhee likes, and then it's kind of like mean of her to kind of take the person that her friend's crushing on, I guess. Yeah. But Junhee tells her like he knew that they both liked each other and that this is like a happy thing and not like something she should be sorry for. And as they head out of the stairwell where they're having this conversation, Yoonjae is there, so he finds out that Junhee has actually liked him all along and not Siwon like he thought. And then at some point, Siwon tries to send Yoonjae some oranges that her mom sent, and she accidentally reveals that Taewoong has surgery. So then Yoonjae rushes to the hospital super worried about Taewoong, and he and Siwon eventually have a talk. And in this talk, Yoonjae tells Siwon that his brother is still in love with her, and she says, "So what?" She says, "Taewoong is really important to me, but you're the one that like I'm really worried about." So here she kind of threatens him and is just like, "If you don't tell me, I'm going to kiss you 10 times. And so she's counting, and then he eventually kisses her, and then they begin dating. Woo!
니는 어떤데? 다른 사람 다 필요 없고 그냥 아직 내 좋아하냐고. 야, 니 상처 안에 대답 안 하면 이번에 보고 확 내보냅니다. 내 한 달만 하는 거 알지? 하나, 둘.
중일 때까지 늘 첫째 줄에 겨울은 60이 됐을 무렵 쓸만한 녀석들은 모두 다네 첫사랑 지난 중 정말 듣고 싶었던 말이야 물론 1년 전 일이지만 기뻐야 할 텐데 당연
19, 30분. 누구랑? 내는 인자 다 나왔다.
And then later, in the same stairwell that everything seems to be happening in, Junhee takes a phone call and hears from Siwon that they kissed and that they're together now. And after Junhee leaves the stairwell, it turns out that Taewoong overheard everything. So now Taewoong knows that Yoonjae likes Siwon, and I mean, obviously Siwon also likes Yoonjae, and that, yeah, his own brother has liked the girl that he likes and much earlier than he has. And so, yeah, he started just connecting the dots that everything that Yoonjae's done was actually a sign that he was in love with Siwon. Later, Taewoong and Yoonjae are at a cafe and they're talking, and Yoonjae is trying to tell Taewoong that him and Siwon are dating, and Taewoong says he knows, and then he says he refuses to give up. And so he tells Yoonjae that even though Yoonjae is his precious younger brother, his only family left in this world, love is just not something you can give up on. So Taewoong says he's gonna keep trying to see if he can end up with Siwon, and that whoever like basically loses her heart just like loses, you know, like you just give up and just can be made fun of or whatever. So Taewoong tells Yoonjae to go on this blind date with this girl of someone that he respects a lot, and Yoonjae just sits there really unhappy that his brother isn't giving up on Siwon, basically. And so Yoonjae goes on this blind date, and before he enters, he calls his brother and tells him that he's not going to give up this time because he gave up once on Siwon thinking that he could just hide and ignore his feelings, but then he learned that love doesn't work that way. And yeah, that he also isn't going to give up this time. So Yoonjae goes in to meet his blind date, and it turns out it's actually Siwon. So Taewoong sends a message to Yoonjae that he's sorry. I do want to mention right now the important point of this is that whereas Yoonjae struggled with this like conceding Siwon to Taewoong his entire life, Taewoong wanted Yoonjae to not feel bad because Taewoong gave up on Siwon, and that both of them really like tried their best, and it's ultimately Siwon's choice. That was like the entire message that Taewoong was sending to Yoonjae. And yeah, this makes Yoonjae sad and cry. I really feel like it was Taewoong's way of preventing the brotherly relationship from being awkward and preventing from Yoonjae feeling sorry for Taewoong, because yeah, that's just the way love works, you know? But anyways, we fast forward to 2013, which is actually the year after the high school reunion that we keep flashing back and forth to. And it's Siwon giving birth, and she's asking for her husband. Taewoong and Yoonjae run in dramatically, and the nurse asks, who's the husband? And surprise, surprise, it's Yoonjae. Like, in what world does anyone actually think she's going to end up with Taewoong? Like, I feel like even when I watched this the first time, there's no way I even thought she was going to end up with Taewoong. He's not even in this poster. Like, why is she randomly going to marry him? I mean, but you know, Reply 1988 surprised me with who she ended up with, so I guess you never know. But yeah, Yoonjae and Siwon are dating. It's funny because despite them being a couple, they're still the same people. They still keep bickering. Yoonjae still keeps fighting Siwon about her love for Tony, and he always likes to play this game of like, if me and Tony fell in the water, who would you say first? And you know, her love for Tony is like immense, and so he's really jealous that she just doesn't give him that energy, I guess. But yeah, so despite them dating, they've got their cute moments, but they're still the same people. They still fight, bicker, and everything, and I love it. It's so adorable. Some important moments are after Junhee moves out, and so yeah, one day Siwon comes over and Yoonjae asks, is this good enough for our newlywed home? Siwon's like, bro, is this a proposal? And he's like, why do I have to propose? Like, obviously you're going to marry me. And he's like, did you not think you were going to marry me? And she's just not really answering him. And then he also does the same thing where he's like, I'm going to kiss you 10 times if you don't reply, if you're going to marry me. And so he's counting, and then she finally agrees. And then, yeah, they kiss anyways.
그럼 너랑 결혼이지? 3초 셀 동안 안 대답해라. 안 그럼 뽀뽀 몇 번 들어간다. 하나, 둘, 셋.
알았다. 알았다고.
너 보고 이러.
알았다고. 그냥 저 썩은 왜 그러냐. 어때? 대답했다.
안 봐.
근데 이게 뭐 한짓거리고.
그냥 연인들끼리 하는 거야.
And then at the same time, actually, Taewoong gets a new girlfriend. It's the surgeon girl who did Taewoong's surgery, because earlier I mentioned that he had a surgery. So Taewoong and his girlfriend plan on getting married first, and then that kind of pushes back Yoonjae and Siwon's marriage. And ultimately, the next day, Siwon turns out she's pregnant. So and then they go in the future, and then they talk about how Siwon and Yoonjae had a shotgun wedding, completely stole Taewoong's wedding plans, took the wedding venue, took the clothes, took the honeymoon. Yeah, they're just two stupid little individuals. So really, the story ends there. They leave the high school reunion, and Yoonjae and Siwon are driving home, still arguing about Tony and HOT. And yeah, that's just it, actually. And so I guess it really ends on the note that like some things never change, and yeah.
코찔찔이 소꿉친구에서 첫사랑으로, 연인으로, 그리고 이렇게 남편과 아내로 만나기까지 우린 같은 시대를 지나 같은 추억을 공유하며 함께 나이 들어가고 있다. 익숙한 설레임, 좋다.
Onto the pros. I kind of talked a little bit about this earlier, but I think one reason I really love this is because it features a fangirl, and it features her fangirl activities. And I'm not as intense as Siwon, but I find it so relatable, and so I really like her. I think it's really funny for most part, but also one thing that I really like about it is that they also show the limits of fangirling, because one thing that Siwon does that is absolutely crazy is she writes a letter in blood to Tony, and he gets freaked out about this. And so the message is that like there is a limit of what you're supposed to be doing. So I did like that they did talk on these stalkerish behaviors. And I think there's another comment that is made that like Siwon writes like this fan fiction, and then Jiwon, who is like the Chicky's member, remember, but he's like Hakchan in the drama. He also says that like, oh, fan fiction can also make idols really, really uncomfortable. So they also like talked on that note. So I feel like they handled it pretty tastefully. It's really funny. And I think as a fangirl myself, I think I appreciated this humor. And then the next point that I really love about this is the story. Like I mentioned earlier, there's not really a plot line. It's kind of like a slice of life, day-to-day life kind of situation, but each story actually is being narrated and there's an overall message and theme of each episode, which makes it a lot better in my opinion. Yeah, I think every theme makes sense and contributes to the plot moving forward, which in some dramas it is not the same case, but I also love that these themes and messages are something that can resonate, whether it's about friendship relationships, whether it's about love, whether it's about family. There's like a focus in each episode, and it's meaningful. It like builds and contributes. It's a really good storytelling method in my opinion. And then next, I mean, I kind of said this already, but like characters, even besides Siwon, who is the main character, I love the rest of them. Yoonjae is sweet. He's constantly there. I love their dynamic. I am a really big fan of enemies to lovers, and they're not quite enemies, but they definitely bicker and banter a lot. And yeah, it's just sweet that despite everything they say, because I'm also someone that is like actions speak louder than words. I'm not really good at saying like cringy words and stuff like that. But yeah, I really loved their dynamic. It's like comfortable. It's just like no matter what though, even if they say these mean words, you know that they're always there for each other. Like Yoonjae, even when he's giving Siwon the cold shoulder, he still shows up. He's still worried about her like walking home late at night, potentially getting hurt. And yeah, I feel like that's just it's just such a good dynamic. It's super great. It's the same dynamic that you see in Love Next Door. So if you like that from Love Next Door, you're going to love that about Reply 1997. And then I guess going off this is like the relationships. I mentioned that I really like the romantic relationship dynamic, but there's also this like, it's pretty impressive, honestly, the brotherly love between Taewoong and Yoonjae. Like, I feel like sometimes dramas tend to just throw facts at us like, oh, they're orphans. But I feel like this relationship really signified the fact that they were orphans. Like the fact that Yoonjae was willing to give up on his like 10-year crush for his brother, I feel like that really shows how much he loves his brother and but also throughout the entire show, you can really tell that the two of them only have each other. Like Taewoong, he's pretty persistent about Siwon the entire drama. And it's really when he realizes that his brother's been in love with this girl that he also just gives up. So I feel like it is silly in a way because you're giving up your own romantic relationship, but I feel like the fact that both of them are able to accept the end because the partner in question is the brother, I feel like that's really sweet. And throughout the show, they just really only have each other. The brotherly love is like pretty cool to see. And then besides that, one dynamic that is present in a lot of this is Siwon's relationship with her parents. She fights a lot like with her dad, but it's like when it comes down time, her dad ultimately loves her, and that's just a really sweet dynamic too. It's a really good story and heartwarming, you know. And so another pro is the attention to detail. Like I mentioned earlier, like when they just drop information, I feel like it usually contributes. Like when they give information, it's like they really stand by it. So like the one thing is the closeness of Yoonjae and Siwon. Like we are told that they grew up together, and you can just feel their closeness in all these like tiny little moments. Like they share food all the time. They share drinks all the time. They don't have to say anything, and they just kind of like naturally give each other things. And yeah, I feel like just the actors themselves too, they just had a really good dynamic. Like the way the lines were is just like really good, realistic banter. So yeah, this attention to detail is what makes the drama feel more realistic, more well written, more good, you know? Okay, and so I will move on to the cons. And so the first one that's really short is that the couple actually ends up together very, very late in the drama. So if you're really wanting to watch them in their dating moments, you're not actually going to get a lot of it. But to be honest, I didn't mind because I felt like even when they weren't dating, they were kind of dating in a way because they still like really care for each other. I guess the only thing is they didn't make out, but they did once they were dating. Yeah, I mean, you still get enough of their moments throughout the drama. It's actually kind of short too. It's actually only, it's like 16 episodes, but the initial ones are like 40 minutes and then it extends towards the end. So yeah, it's not that long of a drama. If that bothers you, I guess, sure, but doesn't bother me at all. And I'm the kind of person that like is counting down until episode 8 because they better be together by episode 8. That's what I'm expecting for Love Next Door. Like if they get together in episode 15, I probably would rage. Like I don't think that drama should be dragging that out that long. And then so the main con, and really the only con of the entire drama, is the Taewoong plotline. So yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Taewoong is older. He was a former teacher, and he was also engaged to Siwon's older sister, who is now passed. And so, yeah, liking the younger sister is kind of odd. He does make a comment at some point that he did like Siwon because she was like her sister in the beginning, but he also just likes Siwon now. To be honest, I feel like he still only likes Siwon because of the sister thing. And one thing is, they date, but this one's kind of weird to me because Siwon never explicitly calls Taewoong her boyfriend, and she also, I feel like, never treats him like a boyfriend. Like, I don't know. There's this whole theme about Siwon constantly wanting to grow up and be like an adult, even though she's like a teenager, you know, that vibe. But I feel like she never they don't kiss. She literally gets him a gift of a necktie once, and he's like, oh yeah, the meaning behind this is that you want me to be yours, and she's just like, oh no, like, no, that's not what I wanted.
근데 네 넥타이가 무슨 뜻인지 알고 선물하는 게
하고 말했잖아요. 일소주 잘 풀리라고. 아니에요? 다른 뜻 있어요.
아니 맞는데 그건 그냥 평범한 사람 사이에서 하는 얘기고 연인끼리 넥타이 선물할 때는 다른 뜻이 있는데 당신을 가지고 싶어요. 그런 뜻이다. 몰랐나?
미친놈이다. 절대 그런 뜻 아니다. 절대로. 아, 내가 그냥 오빠 사업 잘 되라고 진짜 혼자 돈 기가 선물이다. 진짜 그런 뜻 아니다. 그런 뜻 절대 아니다. 진짜로.
I was actually in denial that they dated because only Taewoong called her his girlfriend, and he only said that in front of other people. So I was like, is he just delusional? Because there was never, you know, that moment where he asked her out, there was never a clear yes. It was kind of her just calling him, and that kind of signified that she was like willing to date him, but she never explicitly said it. But the thing is, I kind of gave up on this theory because remember when I talked about Yoonjae going on that blind date and him telling Taewoong he's not going to give up? He mentioned that Taewoong and Siwon broke up, so that means that they had to have dated. And yeah, like the fact that Yoonjae knows that they did, yeah, like they had to have dated. But yeah, from Siwon's part, it was just a strange relationship. It was like they dating, but they weren't dating. And then one thing is, Siwon calls Yoonjae her first love. So why does she not consider her first boyfriend her first love? I feel like that was just a strange little arc. But yeah, it was weird. I didn't mind it that much because ultimately Siwon never had feelings for Taewoong like that. Like, I think it's very clear. Like, she calls Yoonjae her first love. She doesn't kiss Taewoong. She doesn't get involved with him in that way, you know? It is creepy and odd, but honestly, I feel like you can ignore him throughout most of the show. Yeah, I feel like he's a good brother, and I don't know, he doesn't need to be a character that you love either. And for me, I think it's so flaringly obvious that Yoonjae is going to be the husband. It's been so long since I watched it, but if you need to know, yeah, he's the husband. It's a strange plot point. It would have been okay if it wasn't there, but it does not affect my understanding and feelings of the drama. So, yeah. Wow. And so actually, yeah, that is all for the drama, like, review, recap, everything. Yeah. It is really the original Friends to Lovers drama. So if you really need one while you're waiting for the next Love Next Door episode to come out, I highly recommend you go through this. And if you go through this, you can go through Reply 1994 and then Reply 1988 because they are the original Friends to Lovers trope. I personally like this one the best, then followed by 1988 and then 1994. Most people tend to like 88 better, but this is just the classic one. It's the first one for a reason. Even the amateur production wise, it's beautiful the way it is. It's so like raw and like natural, you know. Yeah, there's also just too much affection for me in this drama because of my own nostalgia. So, but yeah, definitely check it out. Tell your friends about it because let's let this drama revive again, like an old K-pop song or something. But yeah, that is all. I feel like I'm gonna start a Love Next Door series because I want to like hop on these trends. I might be going over the Chung So-min and Chung Hae-in's works, so that could be the next video, but we shall see. And that is all for today. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more drama stuff. Like this video regardless, I guess. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.